This family said they would risk him walking a free man before they settled for a plea bargain. They wanted a trial. They wanted a jury to decide if this was first-degree murder. But what they wanted just didn't matter.
Lord, we're reminded of that great, tragic day in our lives.
A prayer on the courthouse steps for justice.
We know that justice will be served.
A prayer for a miracle, that maybe a judge would stop something terrible from happening. Something terrible from happening again. Ashley Fullerton was a brilliant student who earned a full scholarship to UT Knoxville, but an unexpected pregnancy led to marriage and a different life back home in Benton County. That life ended when her own husband shot her in her home. Their baby was so close he was covered in blood. Derek Grooms confessed, but said he thought it was a burglar. No one bought that story, especially Ashley's mom, Amanda Parks.
He was less than 2 feet from her, and we're talking closer than me and you in a hall, a very narrow hall, like we're talking a 3-foot hall, and you're 2 foot away from her. You can't mistake her.
It would take 6 years to bring this case to trial. But then at the last minute, Mom gets a call from this man, Assistant District Attorney Carlin Hess from Williamson County. The shocking news: there would be no trial.
Literally the first thing out of his mouth was, "We offered a plea deal and it's been accepted." And I'm like, okay, and what was that? And he said 15 years, he'll plead to second degree, and they'll be served at 100%. I lost it. I mean, I had to get up and leave. And it took me a while to calm down to even go back in there.
That brought out an army of support to the courthouse. Amanda Parks brought family and church members, all opposed to the plea bargain offered Derek Grooms. Grooms couldn't even look at Parks as she begged the court to please deny this plea.
I want you to please make this right. You can make sure that she gets the justice, and you can make sure Jace not only gets justice for his mother, but justice for himself. I ask you to think of her as a daughter and ask yourself if 15 years is all her 21 years of life was worth.
The district attorney offered the plea.
You're pleading guilty in count 1 to the amended second-degree murder.
Grooms accepted 15 years in prison instead of a possible 51.
Because once a jury...
The last distant hope was for Judge J. Brent Bradbury to reject the plea.
The family here is asking the court to take a risk. A risk that at the end of the trial, Mr. Grooms might be found guilty of first-degree murder. Or he might walk out those doors a free man. And the court's not in the business of risk. Here I have a certainty. I have certainty that Mr. Grooms is going to spend the next 15 years incarcerated.
The decision did not bring tears, just quiet pain.
All right, thank you all for your time. Court is adjourned.
Another terrible loss on top of a terrible loss.
I spoke with prosecutor Carlin Hess. He told me the lack of proof of premeditation was a problem. Based on my experience, if I'm thinking my best possible outcome is a second-degree murder, then I need to make the best deal possible, and second-degree murder felt like the right thing to do. I don't think we could prove premeditation. That could have ended with him being released much earlier. I think he's a dangerous man, and we were able to get him off the streets for 15 years. I'm Dennis Ferrier, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.